Oops, that's got to go off. Okay. At 8:59.
Yeah, I was gonna say momentarily, but I hover.
Okay,
I hovered just before.
okay, good. I think it's like, already, it's 8:59.
Great, the clock just switched.
Okay.
You ready?
Thank you, Blair. Yep, I am ready.
Okay, audio's going on.
I said this.
Great.
Good morning, everybody. Nope, got a problem here. Good morning. Morning. My name is Mavis Bates. Good morning. And welcome to the King County Energy and Environmental Committee meeting. Today is Friday, October 11th. And clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Alan and Caius are not here. Roth? Strathman? Young?
Here.
Tarver?
Here.
Bates?
And I thought we weren't going to have a quorum today.
How about it?
Look at all your smiling faces. Let's see, do we have remote attendance requests? Okay, there are no. Okay. Mr. Caius, do you have a remote attendance request?
I do not. I would like to listen in, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum. I'd like to have a motion to approve unanimously approve the minutes from September 13th. Mr.
Madam
Roth.
Chair,
Oh.
Strathman here. I would like to make a request to unanimously approve the minutes for September 13th, 2024.
Consent?
Yes,
Okay, no
I'm
objection.
sharing today, so I let her.
Okay, thank you. Is there, believe there's public comment from David Young.
Good morning, David Young. I wanted to read a prayer that was handed out to everybody at St. Pat's Parish, and has to do with the election. It's very apolitical. Just wanted to read this, and it states, it's the consecration of the election to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Mary Immaculate, living tabernacle of the divinity, where the eternal wisdom lies hidden to be adored and served by angels and men, Queen of heaven and of earth, beneath whose sway are subject all things that are lower than God, patroness of the United States of America, sorrowful and mindful of our own sinfulness and the sins of our nation, we come to thee, our refuge and hope. Knowing that our country cannot be saved by our own works, and mindful of how much our nation has departed from the ways of thy Son, we humbly ask that thou wouldst turn thine eyes upon our country to bring out its conversion. We consecrate to thee the integrity of the upcoming election and its outcome, so that what is spiritually and morally best for the citizens of our country may be accomplished, and that all of those who are elected would govern according to the spiritual and moral principles which will bring our nation into conformity with the teachings of thy Son. Give grace to the citizens of this land so that they will choose leaders according to the sacred heart of thy Son, that his glory may be made manifest, lest we be given the leaders we deserve. Trusting in the providential care of God the Father and thy maternal care, we have perfect confidence that thou wilt take care of us and will not leave us forsaken. O Mary Immaculate, pray for us. Amen.
I believe that is all of the public comments that we have today. Ms. Wolnick is not here today. Who's going to do her part?
She didn't actually have any items for today. She was hoping to join before the meeting ends, but
Okay.
so we just continue to part. So
Ms.
is
Ryan.
is Lauren Webb on Zoom, Blair? Wonderful. Hi. That's our first item is going to be a presentation from Lauren, who is the Revenue Operations Manager for Recycle Coach. Lauren will tell you more about Recycle Coach, but they're essentially a web and mobile platform to help citizens better understand their municipal recycling program and local recycling options. They're based out of Toronto, Canada. And they have a contract with IEPA, I believe it's a 6-year contract, to work with us, the counties and municipalities of Illinois, to implement Recycle Coach broadly. And I've been working with Lauren for like a month or two, and it's been really good. And we're hoping to roll it out in the coming months, or weeks, really. So I will hand it over to Lauren.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone having me here today. I'm excited to share a little bit more about what we're doing with Illinois and more specifically Kane County. I'm hoping I can share my screen. Is that okay?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
If
So,
that turtle
like Claire
is yours.
Thank you so much. So like Claire mentioned, my name is Lauren. I run operations here at Recycle Coach. We're based out of Toronto, Canada. And who are we really? In 2001, our founder pioneered the use of traditional wall calendars, the ones you put on your fridge in January to help residents know their collection date and have additional information about how to dispose of items properly. As time went on, the world started changing, and in 2011, he decided, okay, we gotta go tech. So we added in, as Claire mentioned, a mobile and web widget or app for residents to get the same exact information that they had up on their wall in the palm of their hand. What that looks like today is that we've partnered with over 1,500 plus municipalities across North America and some in Australia and New Zealand, which is really exciting for us. So what does our solution look like, and how is it beneficial to the residents of Illinois and the counties, the municipalities? And that is what I mentioned as the mobile and web experience. So it's an app that residents can download. They'll immediately get their collection schedule. They can look up how to dispose of items properly, and have additional education that is hyper localized information in their municipality. So if an app isn't really their thing, that's okay. We have a web version as well that's going to be provided on as many municipality websites as possible. And of course, Claire's going to help me with that with the county as well. So resident can, go to the county website, immediately see this web widget. They can type in their address, find their location, have an opportunity to download, a PDF if they want to still have a paper copy and put it on their fridge, or they can have reminders sent right to their email or to their phone through using this technology. So I have a short video, but I'm not sure if I shared it with audio. So I'm going to try one more time just to give you a better sense of, what does our app really do? So 1 second here. All right.
Welcome to the Recycle Coach mobile app, used by over 1,500 cities in North America to empower residents not only to recycle better, but to understand their local waste and recycling rules. At its core, Recycle Coach is a robust and powerful communications platform where cities are able to keep residents in the know and action quick responses when residents need them. Our What Goes Where search bar is the cornerstone of our recycling education platform. This is located prominently at the top of the app's home screen so residents can easily search our material database by typing out their query or taking a picture of any item to find out its proper disposal through our image recognition software. When a resident searches a term, such as cardboard, all relevant materials will be displayed in a menu where you can tap to choose the correct type of cardboard you're looking for. While we have over 400 materials in our database, we include over 15,000 synonyms for these materials, making it easy to direct residents to the correct disposal method for their item. Once you've chosen your intended material, information directly from your municipality's program will appear. As you scroll down, you will also be able to tap for more information about collection requirements, drop-off locations or depots, and even drop-off events when applicable. Below this information, we provide the opportunity for municipalities to add drawer links to provide additional information or link to websites that are pertinent to that material's disposal. Through our calendar feature, residents can see their waste and recycling collection schedules. They just tap on the date to find out more information about their pickups and to set reminders, so they never miss a collection. We also provide a centralized report a problem tool for municipalities that is fully customizable. By tapping on the help icon at the bottom of the screen, residents can report a variety of problems such as a missed pickup, damaged cart, and more. The information reported is sent directly to the proper channels to get the issue fixed quickly. What makes Recycle Coach unique is our ability to take all this powerful, hyper-local content and turn it into learning activities. For example, our education team creates a weekly We Wanted to Know question on the app's home screen to engage users. The answers are programmed directly from your What Goes Where configuration, and then cities can use the data to power marketing campaigns. Residents can engage with our recycling fundamentals and misunderstood materials modules by watching videos and taking quizzes to earn a digital badge. Our mobile platform is always loaded with interesting blogs, lessons, and interactive features to keep residents excited about recycling, sustainability, and the circular economy. Lastly, Recycle Coach continues to lead the way with engagement. Our Recycle Right game is a 4-level interactive swipe game that uses your local waste and recycling rules as the answers. Recycle Coach is ready to help enhance all of your education and outreach for a greener tomorrow.
So we're really excited to be able to provide this information to the entire state and provide it at a really local level. And what does that look like? What you've seen in the video here is we're providing a communication package and an education package as well. So in addition to adding in languages, this app is going to be able to provide hyper-local collection schedule information. This means adding events. It's, we're called Recycle Coach, but we do so much more than that. If you're thinking about yard waste, street sweeping, I know we don't really do shredding events here, but you can add shredding events to your calendar, household hazardous waste events, even, as small as, a community event that you might be, or recycling education might have a part in, a little booth, something like that, you can put it on the calendar. With that, residents are able to get information through the app or to their email about these events, about their collection through what we call our notification system. So Claire is going to be able to send out notifications to residents all over the county or in specific areas, as well as the municipalities themselves that can send out information based on their location. So this can mean, the trucks are running behind due to inclement weather. It can be reminders about don't put such and such in the recycling, place it in the garbage. Or just, hey, we're having a pop-up event on the weekend for household batteries. Meet us, at this Staples parking lot. So you can notify your residents really about anything. And then on top of that, residents are able to add reminders. So they can add it 24 hours in advance, 12 hours in advance, whenever they want to be reminded of their collection or of an event. They're able to customize that on their own. We have what we call our inbound communication, like you saw, is the report a problem tool. I think the really great thing about this is mitigating the risk of having tons of residents call Public Works Department. So we really try and funnel residents to the proper communication channels. Anything in the tool that's related to technology issues, that comes right to Recycle Coach. Anything that might be related to missed pickup, if that's a specific caller, we can direct them right to them so that it's no longer playing that telephone game. If a municipality wants to add something about maybe reporting potholes, we might be able to direct that right to the roads division. So it's really all encompassing. When we talk about our What Goes Where tool, this is that search bar, take a picture. Where does this go? Help residents understand where things are supposed to be disposed of. We're trying to change behavior through education so that we can intentionally decrease contamination for residents. The education aspect of our technology is really funded by the content allocation system. So Claire has been doing a fabulous job updating our What Goes Where tool and really making sure that materials are in the correct disposal. So if that means metal beverage cans have to go in the recycling, she's going to make sure that that's there. Maybe it has a drop-off location as well. If there's extra information on, what to do with the, the tabs on it, we're trying to put in as much information as possible. And so what happens is our system reads what Claire's put in and is able to push out different educational content based on those rules. So if in Kane County, plastic bottles need to have their caps on, then the system will read that and ensure that the quiz questions residents are getting, the answers have the caps on. Or if there's a blog article about plastic bottles, it'll make sure that it's telling residents caps need to be on. In other locations around Illinois, if that's different, then those residents will get that different information. So we're really excited about how localized this information can be. Like we mentioned, we have our We Wanted to Know quiz questions, blog articles, and this is all funded through our content allocation system. We have a set of video series and different learning activities where residents can earn badges and really incentivize them to come into the app and learn more. One of my favorite things is our kids activity packets. We've had lots of partners of ours print them out, give them to libraries, have them at community centers. And when the kids bring them home, there's a QR code at the bottom and mom and dad can scan that QR code and learn more about the app and then in turn help the household with better recycling habits. So what does this mean overall? There's all this education, there's, we're teaching our residents how to recycle better. Well, Recycle Coach has done a fabulous job with our reporting dashboard. So we have what we call our client portal where Claire is able to log in, the partner municipalities will be able to log in, and they're going to be able to see analytics on how people are interacting with the app. How many people are looking up what items? I think it's really interesting to see what residents are looking up and what the problem items are. So you might be surprised. Lots of people might be looking up how to dispose of propane tanks, even though you might think that you're not supposed to put it in the recycling. So if they're looking that up, then we can help with PSAs, we can help with outreach to teach people how to recycle and get ahead of the curve, or teach people how to dispose of the item properly. And how do we do that is through marketing support. So Recycle Coach provides an always-on strategy. We've got tons of different assets to really get the word out there and really help residents, better recycle. Obviously, with COVID, the QR code made its comeback. And so, we've had different partners of ours actually make this QR code into a sticker and stick it on every bin when they go to pick up the waste and recycling. And so that encourages people to download the app and learn more. It's a really exciting new tool to use. And here are a couple of different examples of how we've done that in the past through marketing support, truck wraps. Like I said, the kids' activity packs. I think this was at a community event, or even just, brochures that are handed out in the mail. I want to be respectful of time here, but one of the main things that Claire and I wanted to share with you today is what we've done so far in Illinois. So specifically with Kane County, a few weeks ago, I got the pleasure of coming to Illinois. It's really exciting for me. We had an introduction and a training session with some of the partner municipalities. I think we had 6 or 7 different sessions with counties and agencies that invited their municipalities to learn and onboard with Recycle Coach. So in terms of Kane County, I believe there were about 8 locations across the county that started their onboarding process. And Claire's been working really hard on our What Goes Where tool to have everyone in the county have consistent hyper-localized information. So yes, the municipalities will be able to give them their specific collection schedule, but Claire's going to really oversee and ensure everybody's recycling in the same way to mitigate the risk of contamination. By the way, all of that onboarding happened in a day with Kane County. So it's really exciting for us. And we're just so happy that this partnership has flourished. In terms of Illinois, in that week, we had over 60 municipalities across 5 different counties agencies start their onboarding with us. We're currently working with the city of Chicago, which obviously is almost a county in of itself with all of its residents. And then we have another 7 more counties that are in the midst of onboarding, and we really hope to have all of this done or almost there at least by the new year. So we've got a lot on the board and a lot on the go, and we're just so happy to be a part of this. Okay, I tried to squeeze it in my time slot. Sorry if I whizzed through that, but I really appreciate you letting me share this with you today. And I'll take a beat there if anybody has any questions.
Mr. Roth.
I installed the app real quick. St. Charles is stage 1. Can you define the 4 different stages?
Of course. So when the technology first started, it was a very grassroots movement. So we were encouraging people to download the app, even if their municipality did not work with us. And once we had enough users on the app, we were able to go to the municipality and say, hey, we've got 200 people wanting to use this technology. Would you like to purchase it to provide it to your residents? So we've moved a little bit away from that model. And what's going to happen right now is in Illinois, there'll be a lot of municipalities that haven't onboarded with us yet. And that's just a timeline thing. The state partnered with us. I think everything was tied off in about June. And so now we're in the race to get as many municipalities up to the next stage as possible, AKA when St. Charles is able to provide us all their information, your app will change and you'll start to see your collection schedule. You'll be able to put in your address and have all of that information in there. We just have to wait until we're able to partner with them to get that information up and running. So we like to consider it's a marathon, not a race, but we intend to have all the municipalities in the states onboarded as quickly as we possibly can.
I think what's going to happen so nothing is launched yet for Kane County. So I'm going to, by the January 1st date, I'm going to launch the What Goes Where tool. And then also like a calendar for Mill Creek, since we managed that contract. And hopefully some of the other municipalities that did the onboarding will also be able to launch their calendars. So municipalities that haven't done any onboarding yet, I believe residents of those municipalities will still be able to use the countywide what goes where. They just won't have their calendar yet.
I mean, the app stated as soon as 20 people in St. Charles sign into the app, we go to stage 2, is what the app said.
Yes, so like I
And-
said, we've just, oh, sorry.
Okay, so that, and I think it's a good tool to, well, hopefully let us learn more about what are the different, and Claire, you'll be able to see across the whole county and all the cities and stuff.
I think so, yeah. It's
mean,
hard
that
to
would
know
be-
what
that
all
would
the
be-
DC But it should
Yeah,
be.
no, it may take a while, but I think that's a critical thing is find out who's doing it well and who we have opportunities with, right? So, thank
Is
you.
Aurora one of the municipalities that's joining?
I don't believe so. That they definitely didn't come to ours, and I don't know about DuPage.
Which cities came to the,
Batavia, Geneva. Elburn wanted to come but couldn't on the date, so I think they're possibly working aside. Maple Park, North Aurora, Pingree Grove, and I'm probably forgetting one or two. Montgomery sent like 4 people. It was great.
now, sorry, maybe, on the rollout, are you going to push it out to the residents or to the cities or both?
So it would be
Because there's a lot of people at a resident level recycling, and that's why I think if we got something up in all the libraries or in Kane County Connect, it would really push it quickly.
right. So it would really be to residents, although like that what goes where part will be populated for all the municipalities as well.
Right. So, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Will this depend upon the recycling contract in a municipality, if they can do it or not?
No, so
Like group versus,
the what goes where part does depend on what the MRFs, the material recovery facilities accept, but that's really very uniform across the region. So that's why I'm being a control freak about the what goes where tool, is because I don't want municipalities to be like, well, we don't like taking aerosol, or, there might be just weird stuff. Some of these municipalities, and I don't mean to be like patronizing, but some municipalities have been renewing a waste contract and just adding years to it for more than a decade, for up to 2 decades. And it's like there's antiquated, yes, we recycle and no, we recycle information in the original contract that just keeps getting renewed. So that's why I'd rather, do the what goes where based on today's MRF than a 20-year-old contract.
Madam Chair. David Young, is there a cost to this app to either the state or the Kane County?
There's a cost to the state. The IEPA signed a contract. I don't know anything really more than that, but there's no cost to Kane County.
the things that drive me crazy are the little boxes that soup comes in, or are we recycling those yet?
Yes. If you mean like, it's shelf stable, you don't have to put it in the fridge and you,
Like almond milk or?
yeah, you can recycle those.
Okay, I thought we weren't, but I put it in and I thought, if we're not recycling these, we should. Okay, any other questions? Well, Lauren, at Recycle Coach, this is very exciting, and thank you, because this is a struggle that we've been working on for, in 1990, I was a member of the Solid Waste Advisory Committee in Aurora. My gosh, that was 34 years ago, and we're still learning how to recycle. So any other questions for Lauren? Okay, thank you very much. We'll look forward to the next exciting episode.
Yes, thank you so
running
much
it.
for having me today. I really, really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Oh,
Good.
should I continue with my second item? Great. So my second item here is to just update you on timing of the next county solid waste plan update. And I'm hoping to ask for, following discussion, perhaps consensus on what that timeline should be. So just a brief update about solid waste management planning. All counties in Illinois are required by state law to have an update, to have a solid waste management plan and then update it every 5 years. So Kane County last updated its plan in 2020, meaning that our next update would be due by the end of calendar 2025. And that means I should be working on it right now, or probably 6 months ago. But I, at a conference this June, I heard the IEPA Waste and Recycling Unit Supervisor, the person that ultimately reviews and approves these county plans, say that the agency is willing to extend that update timeline for any county if there's a good reason. And I think we do have a couple of good reasons to request an update or request to delay our timeline. So the first reason is that the cornerstone of these solid waste management plan updates are waste generation numbers and characterization of that waste. So what that means is you're supposed to provide data that shows how much material people are throwing away in your county. And not just how much, but where it's going, whether it's kind of typical landfill trash, whether it's going to recycling centers, where it's going to yard waste composting facilities, and then the construction and demolition debris as well. And it's no secret, it's been a long-standing problem that Kane County and other counties across the board struggle to come up with accurate and complete data to characterize our waste. I mean, one of the reasons is that all the data is held by private companies, because the waste industry in Illinois is highly privatized. We do have an ordinance that requires haulers to report annually to us some data about the amount of material they haul and dispose of in the county, which actually puts us way ahead of many other counties in the state and even in the region. So we're not like resting on our laurels just doing nothing, but we know we have issues with this data. Like it's not complete. Just a few examples, like a lot of yard waste compost material is hauled by landscaping companies, of which there are thousands. And we do not require them to report to us. We could, I mean, they do collect that data anyway, because they pay when they go to a compost facility to dispose of it, they pay by the ton. So it's metered anyway. We couldn't require them to report it to the county, but it's a bit onerous. I know our characterization of our construction demolition debris is lacking. Again, a lot of it is backhauled by construction companies that aren't typical haulers and don't report to us. There's a lot of other backhauling. Long story short, our data is incomplete. So what we've done in the past to rectify this is relied on statewide waste characterization studies. And that's the approach. If we were updating next year, that's the approach I'd want to take again. The problem being the last state waste characterization study was done in 2015 using 2014 data. That's the same data we used to do our last updates. The state is underway with a new or update to the waste characterization study, but it won't be done for at least a year, probably more like 2 years. So that's a long-winded way of number one, we don't have good waste generation or characterization information. Number two, which is a more minor consideration, we did have a personnel change in the middle of implementation of the last plan. So I'll be frank, I'm still working on implementation of the current update plan goals and recommendations. So I certainly have plenty to do. So therefore, my recommendation would be that we request IEPA extend our solid waste management plan update timeline by 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Comments from the peanut gallery? Mr. Roth, please.
Of course, you looked at me right away. I would agree with you, Claire. I mean, the data hasn't changed, so what's the point? The thing you mentioned about waste, yard waste, how many collection facilities are there in the county for that?
How many composting facilities? Actually in the county, 2, I think. But like most waste, yard waste can also go to transfer stations where it's held for a short time and then moved somewhere else. There's also several that are like literally just over the county border with DuPage or.
Could you mention maybe requiring the landscapers to collect that data? It would be easier to collect it at the collection points. Because they're charging them when they drop it off. So they already, have a record of the company and how many tons. Now, there again, I don't want to add cost to anything. So we need to maybe look to get grants to do that. But it would be more efficient to do it where it gets dumped off. There's less, you got, let's say 1,000 landscapers versus a dozen.
That's
collector.
true. It would require voluntary agreement to give us that information from the facilities.
And I'm saying we need to research that. I'm not saying do it because if it's cost prohibitive, we should never force additional costs. But that would be, I would think, it'd be an easier way of collecting more accurate data.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? So you're asking us for consensus today to do a delayed timeline? Deferment. I think, do we have consensus on this? Thank you. If there's no new data, there's nothing we can do. And you're still catching up from the changes from before. Okay, well then, consensus is granted. Make it so.
I will talk to IEPA and I will let y'all know what our new timeline is when I know.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Hinshaw, you have a
Yes.
report?
I'm going to pass it to Austin first, but I wanted to make a quick announcement. Claire has graciously set up in contacts with a MRF in Chicago. The exchange, what is it called? Exchange?
Oh, the Exchange MRF, which is owned by LRS. It's new. It opened in July of last year.
Yes. So we are set to take a tour with one of our implementation groups. When we know there's 3 dates, when we know what date we're going to have the tour, we're going to extend it out to everyone here and to join us if you can. And I will pass it to Austin.
You don't want to miss it. If we get a tour, you don't want to miss this
I
tour.
mean, is it going to be in the next few weeks or a month later?
There's one set for October 24th, November 4th, and November 11th. And I'm just waiting to see which day works for everyone.
For crying out loud. I would recommend the one in November. Not the 4th.
With the campaigns going on. Yeah. Since 4 out of the 5 board members here are in election mode right now.
The 4th is not a good day for you then? Okay, no worries.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
First off, does this work? Yes. Good morning. Apologies first off for being late. The Metro was not kind to me on my way into work today. The main thing I really want to discuss, more than a month ago, Sarah asked me to look over the actions within the Climate Action Plan to see if there are any connections to the Regional Transit Authority, which is kind of like the main overarching branch to CTA, Metra, and PACE. For that time, I've been then reviewing the Climate Action Plan and the regional or the strategic plan that RTA has. If you can go to the next slide and show that, called Transit is the Answer. And then if you go to the next slide, then from looking through that, I reviewed the advocacy agenda, the main strategic goals through RTA, as well as in our own climate actions, and identified 4 specific actions within our Climate Action Plan that are related to their agenda, to the advocacy agenda. Mainly this is related very transportation oriented, relating to linking parking requirements to mode share targets. So this is related to the bike and pedestrian plan's goal of I believe it's increasing the mode share away from single-use vehicles by more than 10% by 2050. So the idea would be to reduce the use of parking in like zoning areas or apartments, and to incentivize the use of public transit or walking or biking. Secondarily would be the use of bus rapid transit. This is an increased or sped up process from a typical bus route you would see along Pace. That's one option. And then the other two would be investing more into bus stops. I think at the current point, a typical Pace stop costs around 20 grand to put in place, and where the Pulse, which is the bus rapid transit for Pace, is more than that at this point. I don't have a specific figure, but I'm researching and reviewing that at this point. And then finally also would be collaborating with additional partners on expanding intelligent transportation systems. So this could be related to having cameras at the top of the lights to stay green for longer if a bus is coming through, or emergency services. So more than a few weeks ago, I set up a meeting to talk with 2 staff members from RTA about these actions and just to better understand what might be feasible for this time, since we're in the process of working on implementing this plan. If you can go to the next slide. And I just wanted to specifically point out that one action with bus rapid transit. For folks that aren't aware, bus rapid transit is really just a dedicated system that provides more fast and efficient service from one location to the other. This is different from a regular Pace route in that it could include dedicated lanes, it could have traffic signal priority, or there could be elevated platforms or enhanced stations. Think about, for instance, with a Pulse station versus a regular Pace station, be that the Pulse station is covered, has heating, and also has this big like monolith to the side of it that shows you updated routes and the times that those buses would come into play. So on my end, I was trying to research and better understand if there was any feasibility for this action, where like one idea could be partnering with Pace to implement a Pulse route along Randall Road, since currently you have to take 2 Pace routes to get from Aurora to Elgin and so on and so forth. There's no one specific route. So at this point, if you were going from Aurora to Elgin, it would take about 1.5 hours to 2 hours from the 802 to 801. Whereas if you were driving there just along Randall Road, it would be like a 45-minute drive. But from talking with RTA, as well as talking with folks at KDOT, if you can go to the next slide, there's some considerable challenges, I think, at this point for that specific action. Mainly, originally, the county worked on a 2012 feasibility study for bus rapid transit along Randall Road, as well as Orchard Road, I believe it is. And though they highlighted about 28 bus stops that they could locate for this, at that point, the overall cost was around $40 million to implement. And at that time, between 2012 to 2015, there were discussions and agreement between the transit agencies and King County that this wouldn't be feasible at the time, simply because of the cost. As well as and also now when we get to today, there is an increasing cost per mile. I don't have the exact figure for you, but increased cost per mile to even implement BRT. And then the main elephant in the room, which y'all are very much aware of, is the current fiscal gap that RTA faces, about $730 million to address by, I believe, fiscal year 2026. So to be clear with this action, it would need to be put on hold until we have any clarity from the state on how they're going to even address the funding gap. And even if they address the funding gap, that $730 million would keep service the same as it is now. It would probably take more funding in general to even consider this action currently. So on our end, it's really about needing to research more into this action, find potential alternatives, since the goal that this action is listed under is meant to increase commuter transit ridership by about 4% by the end of the decade. So if this action does not fit for that goal, then we need to find alternatives. So in my end, it's just then researching more into potential alternatives, meeting more with folks through PACE or Mayor Schulke, or also folks from PACE in general to better understand their operations. And then on my end, also having a better connection with the regional aspect of transit. So in a few weeks from now, actually on the 24th, I'll be attending RTA's Suburban Transit Summit in Arlington Heights to better learn about that. So yeah, that's a very basic and broad overview at this point.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Is there another report?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was updating you on some of the implementation plans so far. So, oh, first, I also did want to mention that the charging station at KDOT is now ready. It's now up and running. So that happened this week. So that was exciting. So we've met with each group, our 8 groups, once so far. We're starting to meet with them a second time. And during the first meeting, their objective between our one in August and the one in September was to research the different actions and just pinpoint ones that they believe were the right ones to move forward with at this time. So doing some background research on their end and then having a discussion overall to kind of pinpoint 2 to move forward with. So these are really picked by the residents, by people. They're not picked by Austin and I. And so I think that's a great way to do this. So we know that we're investing in, objectives at the moment that people really would like to have. So I'm not going to read these word for word by no means because they're long, but I wanted to just give an overview of the ones that we have picked. So for transportation, they would really like to look at the bike and pedestrian 2023 plan. And all the plan, of course, has some objectives regarding, sustainability in it. The main goal of part of that plan is to get the information out also, but safety, to figure out where gaps are. So we're going to look at that and kind of see where we can add in information regarding sustainability to that and recommendations for that. The second one is to partner with some different fleets or school buses. Right now, there are 2 grants out. One for school bus is that almost a full rebate with doing the infrastructure, doing all the labor. I've reached out to Deanna Oliver with ROE and hopefully be in touch soon about giving a presentation over there. And and then the other one that's out is for public electric vehicles, like ones like Pace buses. So we're just starting, that one just came out literally 2 days ago. So we're just starting to kind of look into that and explore how we can utilize those grants. I'll go ahead to the next one. So building and energy, on the building and energy team, we have people that work directly in this field and have been doing this for a long time. And so they picked one that is a big goal to start with, about, looking into different incentives and how to get the information out about retrofits and what is best for homes. And working also with looking at things, they have Pace there, they have CEJA there. It's a big goal, but again, the team has a great team with very knowledgeable information. So we're really looking forward. The meeting is today to see what they've come back with. And then the other one is partnering with contractors, maybe realtors, to look at the benefits of electrification. I'm trying to find, I know there's like realtor events. And so trying to look for some of those coming up to see how we can, have a booth or just have that information available. Next one. So water and wastewater. This one became sort of in-house, more internal. Rob Linky was on there. We have a professor on there. We have Chris Murphy on there, who works for Delta Institute, again, in water, and Kat Gertz from Soil and Water District. And so the meeting was talking about stuff that I was over my head sometimes when they were talking about some of the stormwater discharge here. And it was a fantastic meeting. And so they decided on 2 of them. One is to promote low flow, water fixtures, looking at, again, trying to find incentive programs for those. And so they wanted to pick the end goal is to really, not redefine, but really have a stormwater plan that has the best management practices, but implementing those. And so, but to get to that goal, we do need some more of the education. So we have the education part in there to develop more materials for residents, for municipalities, just about addressing stormwater runoff and, different impacts of climate change. Now, next one. Waste management. So waste management, we met at the library. We were there, and after about an hour and a half, I was like, okay, we're still on the first one here. We got to move forward. It was an excellent conversation. So they really couldn't decide between two of them. So they picked three. So the goal I have it written down because it's so long. So basically let's see this one. It's like to really look at the reuse, recycle, more campaigning, more information out to local governments, more out to cities, out to schools was one they really were looking at. They really were interested in food waste as well. So working with potential like 7 generations in the future. And so again, explore in expanding or establishing local facilities capability of organic composting as well. And then the other one that they wanted to look at, ensure recycling at different places, more public places. So not only local government in there, but looking again, places that don't have it as often, different schools. I know a school that I worked at in Louisiana that I was like, where is recycling bins? It just didn't exist at that school. And so really getting that information out there. Go to the next one, please. So local food and agriculture, 2 goals that they had was working with partners on, they were very interested in the no-till practices and regenerative practices. And so Kat Gertz has mentioned, and I know Matt Tansley is very much involved in doing this already with the education. So we're going to support them and kind of work with them and how we can help them expand this to more farmers, get information out, and just working, what can we do best for them? The second one is about edible school gardens and education. So there's a couple different companies, one in Illinois that actually works with several local schools. So we're going to reach out to them. And then hopefully have one of the districts interested and then promote it at one of the districts and then expand it from there. Next one. Green space. Green space they're really interested in, which we've mentioned it and talked about it here before, looking at pesticides and herbicides and, looking at that drift and just discussing that and how to promote growing without those products or limiting those products. And then as well as looking at our Kane County ground cover study to see where we can really increase trees. Again, another grant popped up and I sent it out to Alex Barnes the other day about oak trees in different areas. They're giving out, I think, I can't remember, 100 per, whoever applies for, they're giving out 100 per application. And so, just promoting that and figuring out where is a big, not issue, but like we need to figure out where and talking to the right people of where we can plant. Yeah. Go to the next one. Health and safety. I'm going to let Austin talk about that one for a minute because he's been really involved with that with Sophia Hamilton.
Okay. The main overarching view here is that compared to the other groups where we had members of the public working to outline which actions we would focus on, this specific group for health and safety has been internalized, mainly because we had a very low response rate to folks that were interested in the group, and then response to the surveys for this meeting, for those meetings. So on my end, I've been partnering with Sophia Hamilton at the health department to identify specific actions that they would want to prioritize and focus on. And then we've been currently working towards outlining the implementation process for each of these actions. One specific example to that, which isn't currently on this list, is tracking heat-related illnesses or climate change-related illnesses.
Tracking what?
Illnesses that are related to climate change. So as we're going to have more extreme heat in the region, there'll be a higher probability of like heat stroke, heat exhaustion. Same thing with flooding. And the reason, and then what we do on that end is then taking codes from physicians who diagnose folks at the ER, and that those codes then get put into a system where you can then get that data. And on our end, we're trying to build out or working and discussing and building out a interactive model right now that can show in real time folks who are going to the emergency room and being diagnosed with any of these related illnesses. That's just that's an example of what we're working on right now. so that people in the county can realize on specific days that are above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, for instance, that extreme heat's affecting the ER right now. And for us as well to track and see if we're doing a good job with education and outreach in general to reduce that likelihood of folks getting heat stroke or getting heat exhaustion.
Okay. Thank you, Austin. You can go to the next one. Climate economy, I was not there in this meeting, but apparently they were very ambitious again and wanted 3 of them. So looking at marketing a certified compost, organic collection at different sites, again, and food scraps. So we'll have Claire be a good advisor on that one as it moves forward. They really were interested in workplace development, looking at, training for jobs that are considered like green jobs, solar panels, things like that. So working with like the Urban Quad League, things like that would be very beneficial to see how we can help support. And then strengthening communication for businesses about climate change and climate resiliency, particularly businesses that may be in disadvantaged areas or smaller businesses, and how they can promote or how they can, retrofit their buildings and, kind of join in with, larger companies that are already doing those types of things. And I believe that is it. I think I got them all. Is there another slide?
Last but not least.
Last slide. Okay. Yes. So that's where we're at. So thank you.
Hey, so these were 2 great reports. I want to thank our fantastic crew here working on the climate action plan. It's a big plan, and you've done a good job of trying to put it into the funnel so we can take bites, small bites, not big bites. So thank you very much for that. And we've got many exciting things to happen in the future, and you 2 are working on that. And Claire, you're doing fantastic things with waste management as always. So are there any other, I guess those were my chairman's comments. Any new business?
I have, Madam Chair, I had questions about the presentation before.
Okay.
How many people, you said that you had a group of people making the decisions and therefore you created this presentation. How many people were in attendance?
So it was anywhere from 5 to 10 or so people. So these ones are just our first actions. We plan again over the next 5 years to hopefully look at all of the actions. But these are just the initial round of actions. So yeah, 5 to 10 or so for each group.
Ms. Jeffen, did you have your hand up?
Mr. Young, were you done?
Go ahead. Thank you.
I just have a comment that last night I was reading a really interesting article about fertilization of our farmland. It was talking about sustainable farming, and it was talking about that they've done a study. They had a field, I can't remember what state it was in. They had not had any chemicals on it for 20 years. And they were using manure and compost on it. And they found that it captured more carbon. And so it was a whole study that they were doing, which I thought was really great with what we're talking about, chemical drift and all of this stuff and it was, I see you nodding, Sarah, do you know?
No, I have not read this particular study, but that's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very excited to read it. I'll see if I can find it and get it to you, because it was a very interesting article.
Mr. Roth.
I'm on one of the subcommittees, and some of the things you mentioned, we definitely need to work with the Farm Bureau, because a lot of the things that are being identified here, they're working on it too. So it should not be in a separate silo, because it's not going to work. And you need to understand where the Farm Bureau is and where they're going. And I think it's critical for those that affect farming. We need to work with the Farm Bureau, because they're trying to address the same thing.
Good, just like.
And they have the ear of the farmers. So if we come in from the outside, we're going to get shut down.
You said you're on a subcommittee of what?
The tree one?
Yeah, green space.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. And so like the drifting, the Farm Bureau's working on the drifting and stuff. And I'm concerned about that one because we got to be careful we don't do overreach on that because there's not a magic solution, silver bullet and stuff. We just can't do an edict and say, you got to do this. We got to get agreement with
I
the
think that's-
farmers.
Yes, thank you. I think that's true for every.
Well, all of them,
minute
but
that we
that's
go.
the most important one.
Worst part is creating backlash.
Right.
Or just doing it the wrong way.
Right. Right.
And we're
And
not
that's
bosses
my
of
concern
them.
about that one. The tree one, of course, I'm full in favor of that. I've been saying that for over 2 years. We need to plant more trees, work with the transportation, identify location for, I think we could fit 100 more trees on this property. And we should be doing that.
Awesome. Mr. Caius, are you tuning in
Yes.
here?
Yes. Can I just add that the Forest Reserve is also farming about 6,000 acres as we prepare it to go in back to prairie or other natural, back to nature. So that, and we do have a coordinator now after the early retirement incentive program, we were able to have a coordinator. And so I would say, try and stay in touch with our coordinator over there, which as soon as I said that I wanted to talk about it, I forgot her name. But
Well, she's very nice.
please keep in track
her
of
name?
the Forest Reserve on that one. I think there's a cooperative effort that can occur there as well. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Caius, sir.
David Young, one more comment. As you guys go through these action plans, I think you need to consider the cost to the citizens when you look at trying to increase the battery vehicle from 2,500 to almost 100,000. You know, everyone knows the cost of electric vehicles are very expensive, so it's going to be very hard to. You know, I think there's 300,000 vehicles on the road in Kane County. So you want to get to 1/3 or something like that. I mean, those vehicles are extremely expensive. I have a Toyota Tundra truck. For me to get a Rivian truck, it's $90,000 to $100,000. I would just never do it. It just isn't feasible. And then as you go through this, the cost of electrification to residents and to businesses, to heat pumps and everything else. I mean, that's a big cost as well. So that's something that needs to be considered as you're going through this. And then you have to make sure that the citizens want to participate in this as well, because right now you have very few people that are driving these decisions. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you.
We are definitely working also with NICOR and ComEd, just in terms of the education, developing just the information for residents about their rebate programs, about their incentive programs, as well as some of the tax credits. So just at least giving that information out that there is rebates and credits out there will be something that we'll also be doing.
Okay. Mr. Roth?
I have new business, but really it's old business. In the August committee meeting, we talked about the tree resolution and that we were going to come back in October and report on that. Do we have anything reported or is it still in progress?
Not that I know of at this time. I will double check on that with Karen and hopefully have
I
something in
have a
November.
comment there. I believe we're waiting for the next draft to come back from the state's
Right.
attorney.
Okay, because it was reported that it would come back in October and that's okay. I'm going to keep asking.
That's where it is. It's
Yeah,
in the
okay, we need
state's
to
attorney's office waiting for a revision.
Continue
so
to move forward on cleaning that up.
I talked to Jody about that last
Okay,
week.
that's fine.
It's coming.
I'll just keep asking each month.
Good. Ms. Ryan?
Yeah, I have a new business. We are going to recycle campaign signs. Yay. So I don't have all the details 100% yet. But what I can say for sure is that we'll have a 30-yard container for them. It'll be on this property down there near the turnaround where the trailhead for the grotto is. It was the same place it was 2 years ago. And it'll be there roughly November 8th through the 17th. for drop off. So it is going to be picked up on the 18th. So more than a week to wrangle your signs and bring them there. I'm planning on also having drop off available at both West ND and the Fabian Parkway recycle centers. I need to clear that with the team there, but it shouldn't be a big deal. I'm thinking the dates for that will be November 6th, so the day after the election, through the end of that week, November 8th. And then 2 days the following week. Veterans Day is a holiday for them as well. So it would be November 12th, November 13th, and that gives me time to go collect all those signs and get them into our container here before it is collected. So,
And we have to take the sticks off of the,
yes, we do ask that people take the metal hangers off. If it's going to be an issue for you, let me know. And we'll work something out. We do recycle both the metal and the plastic part. It does have to be the rigid signs. I've seen more of the flexible plastic signs this year. Those can actually go to grocery stores because they're LDPE usually. So they can go with plastic bags to grocery stores, but the rigid ones, there isn't really a recycling option other than this. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, at the risk of being quite a pest, but as I recall, can you get steps?
Yeah, I'll bring a ladder from home, sure.
Okay, that's what I need.
It is tall. A 30-foot container is probably 6.5 or 7 feet tall. So sure, yeah.
Mavis, I could help you. I mean, I'm tall enough to toss them up and stuff.
But I'm not.
No, but I would arrange with you if you got signs to get rid of. And I'm going to offer to all the Republicans in my area to pick those up and let them decide whether they want to recycle or they want them back.
I meant to say too, I'll give a flyer with the finalized dates to Jane so she can circulate to the whole board.
And the other thing, I mean, I tell my voters, my goal is to pick them up within 48 hours because I think it's, where people leave them is wrong.
Yeah.
And that actually gets me good response.
So I've got a wild and crazy idea. In the spirit of bipartisanship, we could pick up each other's sign.
I'd be willing to do that, but I would ask that somebody agrees to that.
Coordinate that.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So that's a great idea. Can you send like an email flyer to the board that would, because then we could send it out to everybody and let them know that.
Yeah, I usually do send my flyer both to the Kane GOP and Kane Dems.
Okay.
And either I or Jane will send it to the whole board.
And,
for sure.
and what about the metal?
Yeah.
We do it though.
We
Oh, in the-
ask people to separate the metal and then I have separate containers to collect the metal. I just take that to Fabian for their.
Is that going to be back here too? to keep
Yeah,
the metal?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll have containers for the metal here.
See, I threw my sticks in the.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Ashes.
before it gets picked up, I end up climbing in there and trying to fish out as much as I
Oh,
can. There was dog poop in there last time,
okay.
so
I
came
think
back.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you don't live and learn, sometimes you just live. But, okay, I'll put my sticks in the separate container. Okay, yes, that would be wouldn't that be cool to do a bipartisan?
I'm willing to pick up everyone's within 48 hours. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. All right, thanks. Are there any other comments?
Mr. Caius still has his hand up. I don't know if
Oh,
he's.
Mr. Caius, your hand is still up? Or are you
Mistake.
just waving?
I'm sorry, I thought it went away.
Okay, any other comments? Wonderful meeting, thank you. In case my wonderful staff hasn't noticed, many of us are a little distracted right now. So thank you for carrying the burden while some of the members are thinking about other
Maybe
things.
it's our staff, not
Our
just, okay.
staff,
Yeah,
our staff.
we're a team. Okay.
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Mr.
Okay.
Roth. I don't want to be possessive of our staff. And that's a great point. Okay, may I have
I'll make a request that we put the reports, a unanimous approval, put the reports on file.
unanimous approval? Thank you. No executive session is needed.
And I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Thank you. Mr. Tarver? Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thanks as